it was a gun.
I'm not voting.
If we want to build our nation.
The problem with the Somalians.
Just want to experience something else than a black man.
Move on, move
Can't be like
forward.
a horse with blinkers on.
Honestly say, I was about to have
Corrupt
sex and then I pulled
crap,
up.
but it's nice.
My name is Pula, and my surname is Lunake. I am with EziNgcanjini. We do some GBV work that we do.
The name is Tulani. I work as a facilitator for EziNgcanjini Men's Project.
My name is Mkhuseli. My surname is Mtsila. I'm part of EziNgcanjini also, engaging men and boys around issues of gender-based violence and femicide.
My name is Tumile Manui, part of EziNgcanjini, essentially a community-based activist.
My name is Sibonokuhle Dwane. I'm a violence prevention worker and I work at EziNgcanjini, engaging men and boys against gender-based violence and feminicide.
My name is Tabang Quinch. I also come from EziNgcanjini Men's Project, doing gender transformative work, which in actual fact means that we are dealing with attitude change and behavior change and ultimately restoration and healing of communities.
The type of thinking that is cultivated within our homes and outside as a child, how we actually grew up, it on its own fuels gender-based violence, because we are taught in various ways not to respect women, and we are taught in various ways to look at women merely as objects. So for me, it has always been the same experience as well, because even the way we refer to them, we see them as things.
Maybe it is our upbringing and our socialization, you know. I mean, for instance, I've always been looking at, I'm not saying there's something wrong with modeling, you know, not something wrong with modeling, but sometimes when you see these actions and the modeling patterns, you know, that are there, you know, and I think more than anything is how women are belittled, you know, because they began to be belittled, you know, and in the mere fact that you have something that you can beat up, you know, it becomes a thing, it becomes the thing, you know, like Inja. You know, a lot of people don't care for a dog, you know, whereas the value of having that dog within you, you know, it is quite a strange thing that we could even go to that extent of taking women as an object.
It comes from how societies are engineered in a human way. They are human engineered. For instance, iphuma kwi-society ekuthiwa is a patriarchal society. I-society ke yenziwe kudala laa nto, yenziwe through many forms, ukuthi omama bajongwe in a particular way. Ize nakwini-issue ye-gender roles. I-roles esibanika bona oomama zii-roles ezingaphansi kwezethu singamadoda. That's what we do. That's nento kuthiwa zii-images ezipromotwa yi-media, you know, about our women, you know. So zonke zanto zi-inculcate that particular culture of saying women are just object of beautification, sexual satisfaction, and so on and so forth.
Sexual objectification centers around one thing, which is sexual attraction. Let's put it there, right? And so sexual objectification is a communication of sexual attraction to some degree. I find you attractive. I am sexually attracted to you. Now, the question I feel like we should be asking is then, why do men, young and old, communicate attraction in a way that is toxic?
Yeah.
What is the difference between attraction and harassment?
Yes.
At what point is my being attracted to you become harassment? When it is unwelcomed, when it is imposing, when it is intrusive,
Yes.
then it's no longer attraction.
Yeah. The angle you're looking at it brings to mind the power inequality. The one who has power relegates others with less power. So if power is invested in men, then it invariably means that other genders are relegated to a lesser or lower position. And with that, then comes objectification as well.
Today, marriages is perceived in another way. Marriage is perceived differently than it was perceived 4 decades ago.
Yes.
You understand? Today, it has been entrenched, it has been grilled and established into our minds that when you pay lobola, then she is then your possession. You understand? That means you can do whatever you want to do with her. You understand? You say jump, she must just ask how high. However, because you have interventions like, projects like EziNgcanjini, where we are actually saying, look, let us reevaluate how we think. Let us reevaluate the conditioning. Let us evaluate the socialization and see how much of an impact it has on a day-to-day basis in terms of our relationship as men and men, in terms of our relationship as women and men. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Because really, personally, no means no.
So part of it has got to do with the power inequalities in society. Because men occupy a position of dominance and power, so therefore we think that we have the privilege, and the dominance over women. The unearned privilege that we have, that grants us the right and access to sex.
So power gives us
to sex.
entitlement.
For an
Power
entitlement.
gives us entitlement over women, okay?
And it's secondary effects of power. There are primary causes of it, but the secondary one, beautification, reinforcement of perceptions about women, that women are sexual objects. Those are secondary results of the primary cause, which is the dominance of men, issues of power inequality in a society.
If you look historically, we cannot run away from the fact of colonial oppression and how it had an impact on our communities, because the whole conceptual framework of superiority, inferiority, superior race, like inferior race, you see that framework on its own was planted. The seed was planted. So the race, class, gender, someone has to be on top, someone has got to be at the bottom. So there's also that influence when you look at it historically.
In my earlier life, I'm not sure how am I going to put it, but there was this culture of umdopingale of negatale. I don't know how am I going to put it, but there was that, funeka atale and then umcenge ade aze, azofika kulo ndawo, some men remained there. Kulanto yokucenga nandoni uyafumana. And I mean biologically there's this force, that come. I'm not condoning it, but there are those kind of things that we need to also look at. And I like even if you are making this thing of ilobola, because the other issue that I wanted to bring up is that the interpretation in English of our cultural norms, are perpetuating these kind of things. We are because really, I mean, ilobola, ukutwala, those things had good intentions, and we don't know where was it lost, whether in the interpretation and people followed the interpretation of that. But I think for us as EziNgcanjini, I mean, even if before I came to join, I knew no as a no, and we were there. But I mean, you still find those men who think, and also the internal oppression that I referred to. I've seen women who provoke to be beaten up, which is also sad. But it happens, those kind of things.
So the reality is that no is no, but to us, the reality is that we were inculcated with that mindset that begin to say, you have power. What you want, you get to women. That's the problem. You are entitled. So you must do something. Even if you don't do something, you have that feeling. Oh, but I'm a little bit. I feel like disappointed. That's reality, Yeah, but the reality is that power dynamics inform these things sometimes.
Because really, it has to do with socialization. Because at the end of the day, I mean, there's that saying in our communities that the male figure, the man, is the head of the house. So it's the man who actually has to give direction. Yeah. So when a woman says no, that is not accepted. So that's the type of thinking that we grapple with and actually seeks, to uproot in our communities as EziNgcanjini. Because at the end of the day, the socialization aspect is there. It's unescapable. Yeah.
It's a false power. You know what I was saying? When one resists that power, that false power, and be able and begins to actually look at and look at oneself from within oneself and begin to understand that fact that you do not necessarily have the power over somebody else, but you have the power within you to determine what you do next, regardless of what someone says to you. And it takes a high level of consciousness for one to be able to do that.
Most of us men, we don't associate with the emotional abuse. We don't. We go to abuse your bed, and that's what you look at. So those are the kind of things that we should be busy with in terms of how do we change this mindset. Because we need to acknowledge it is happening, it is there, in whatever way, whether it is, we must stop blaming now. Of course, it's good to know that colonization has done that. It is good to know that the power of man has done that. But we need now to say, how do we deal with this matter and find solutions?
I'm thinking now, as we are having this conversation, that we as men, we have been divorced or disconnected from our emotional selves. And in a way that has made us to be desensitized. If, for an example, a woman is saying, no, I don't have the compassion, to kind of understand where that comes from, because I have been dehumanized myself, because I am not connected to anything which has got to do with emotions and to be compassionate with someone else. So that on its own constitute or contributes to part of this problem, because we are dehumanized, because emotion is not associated with us as men.
And a man is not supposed to cry. But again, borrowing from your point that there's misinterpretation of culture. There's also this issue now of elasticity, because you have culture that is interpreted in various ways, and now the issue that comes forth now is who's got the authority to give the right answer in terms of interpreting culture. So we've got that problem. Same thing with religion, because religion now becomes a tool for different purposes and goals. So we grapple with that situation in our society. So it's just a problem that's there, because culture and religion continues to be a tool that is used for wrong purposes.
And the reason it functions as a tool is because it always puts men in positions of power.
My dream is to realize, the objective, to heal the wound of men.
My dream is to contribute towards building a new society.
My dream is to see a gender equal society where all these limitations, all this dominance and other things, where we don't see each other as men and women in terms of roles.
My dream is basically to contribute to healing our communities, because the reality is that we have wounded communities.
Iphupha lam na kukubuyisela imfundiso ezakhayo eziphilisayo ndizibuyisele kulwaluko. Iphupha lam elo, my biggest one ever.
My dream, Omna, is to see more humanizing ways of relating with others, and to also start doing that within my own family.